Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Breakfast and Bullets. This is kind of an informal one. I'm just kind of getting ready to go about my day here, but someone on Facebook asked me about Traitor brands because they were talking about Liberty Safe and what else is on people's blacklist. Now, if you don't know, Liberty Safe kind of got themselves caught with their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. The feds called Liberty Safe and said, "We have a warrant to be in this guy's house and we want to look in his safe. Can you give us the code?" And Liberty Safe said, "Yeah, sure, here you go." They did not get served a subpoena. They did not have a specific warrant for the safe. The feds just literally a phone call and said, "Hey, I'm with the FBI. I need the code to this safe." And Liberty Safe said, "Yeah, here you go." That's kind of a problem, but I'm not going to go into that right now. The point is that they are a Traitor brand. But they were asking me about what I consider to be other Traitor brands. I mentioned Springfield Armory Incorporated and Daniel Defense, and they said, "Well, why those two? I don't know what they did." Bottom line is, Springfield Armory and Daniel Defense both got caught supporting anti-gun legislation and only backed off. Well, Springfield Armory backed off because the bill failed. Daniel Defense backed off because they got caught and decided to try and save face. Either way, I'm not buying any of their products. I won't own anything from Daniel Defense or Springfield Armory Incorporated. Further to that, Daniel Defense shows up an awful lot in mass shooting events. A Daniel Defense AR-15 is like a staple of a mass shooting. And I have to wonder how these low-income, oftentimes high school or young college-age students are getting their hands on a $3,000 AR-15, several hundred or maybe several thousand rounds of ammunition, and tactical gear. Like, where are they getting the money for this? Because they obviously aren't bankrolling it themselves. They're usually minimum wage or just slightly above it. I don't know how they're affording this gear because I don't have the money to spend on that gear. I'm an adult with a full-time job and a family. So, Daniel Defense is on my blacklist because it's suspicious and they got caught supporting gun control bills. Springfield Armory Incorporated supported a firearm ban in Illinois because by backing the bill, they were guaranteed a slot on the approved handgun roster, which means that they and a couple other manufacturers would be the only firearms allowed to be owned in Illinois. So if you were going to be able to own a firearm in Illinois, it would have been a Springfield Armory. I think there were some Smith & Wesson offerings on there. I don't think Glock was on the list. They might have been. But it was a very short list of things you're allowed to own in Illinois. And Springfield Armory paid for their spot on the list by supporting this gun control bill. That gun control bill failed. And nothing ever came of it. Daniel Defense, that bill also failed, but they got caught by their customers supporting this bill, and Daniel Defense said, "Oh, damn, shouldn't have done that. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we're going to cancel that now." I won't support either of them. Springfield Armory Incorporated also, as far as I know, only owns rights to reproduction firearms. They should be able to make M1 Garands, M14s, 1911s, and stamp Springfield Armory Incorporated on them just so that they look like things made by the Springfield Armory. If you don't know your history, go look up Springfield Armory. Not Springfield Armory Incorporated, Springfield Armory. Because they made every firearm for the United States military from like 1774 until 1960-something, 1970-something. And Elmer Balance said, "You know what, there's a good market for military repros out here. I don't want to stamp Springfield Armory on them." He bought reproduction rights. And then within a few years, he was manufacturing new handguns. Even before that, he was importing Croatian handguns, which became the line of XD pistols. And now they're new production with Springfield Armory Incorporated on them instead of HS Product, where they come from in Croatia. I don't know how that's legal because it's reproduction rights, not new production rights. That's a whole other rabbit trail, though. Bottom line is, Liberty Safes, Daniel Defense, and Springfield Armory Incorporated are on my blacklist. There are a few others on there, but those are the ones I wanted to talk about here. Do you have any other blacklists? Tell me about, down in the comments below, tell me about brands you absolutely will not buy from and why. I'm curious because I don't particularly want to be buying from a brand that is in active defiance of my rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Please enlighten me. Tell me about anybody that's on your blacklist and why they're on your blacklist. We may disagree about who's on what list, like Smith & Wesson. They used to be a pretty fuddy company. They supported some gun control, but they cleaned house, and they don't do that anymore. They are trustworthy again. VSO Gun Channel just recently talked about this. Like, where does forgiveness begin? Smith & Wesson can be forgiven. Ruger can be forgiven. Bill Ruger was not a good man. Brilliant gun designer, but he hated magazines over 10 rounds and assault-style weapons. Ruger can be forgiven because Bill Ruger's dead, and if you look at the top line Ruger products right now, it's cheap ARs and good carry handguns, like a polymer frame striker fire 9mm handgun. I think they can be forgiven at this point because that's the vast majority of their market share. But that's about it. So that's my blacklist. Please tell me about yours. I'm excited to hear about it. I'm interested. Please let me know. Thank you for watching Breakfast and Bullets channel, and I'll see you next time.